I'd like to say good evening for all the resident stakeholders who came to provide some input to our town hall meeting. We would like to go ahead and get started. My name is Dr. Brian Rowland. I'm the city manager for the city of Kirby. We have with us Chief Cardona, the chief of police for the Kirby Police Department. We have Ms. Kathy Gomez, who is the director of the Kirby Senior Center. We have Ms. Wilson, who is our city secretary. We have Mr. Mo Hernandez, who works in public works, and we will have joining us Captain Speed from the Kirby Fire Department. We also have Mayor Grider here. We have Councilmember Garza, Councilmember Street, Councilmember Lozano. Yeah, I guess it's right. All right, we have residents here. We have members who serve on committees. And so we have a good cross-section of the Kirby community to kind of get an update or provide feedback in this town hall in reference to how Kirby, what we call it Kirby Forward. We're going to talk about the capital improvement projects. We're going to talk about the $15 million not to exceed certificate of obligation and projected funds or projects and in this meeting. And so everyone will get an opportunity to speak if you so choose. The same rules will apply in reference to the 3 minutes. But other than that, it is an open town hall meeting. Once you're recognized by myself, then you will allow you to speak. The formatting of the conversation will first start with myself providing a summary or context. I provided in this context, I have provided to residents who come to the meeting and residents several times, I think, how we got here. So the picture of how we got here. The city of Kirby, when I came back, we had our first town hall meeting March 3rd on utilities. We had another town hall meeting April 15th on economic development. We had a budget town hall meeting August 27th. And then we had coffee with the city manager on September 4th. We had another budget town hall meeting September 22nd. And then we had a code enforcement town hall meeting October 15th. We had a specific town hall meeting around parks and recreation in December. And then we had a capital improvement town hall meeting in December again. Then in the new year we kicked off, we had our community master plan conversation. And then we had a coffee with the city manager again. And then we had another community master plan conversations about the direction and things that were moving in the city of Kirby. And then we had a community town hall April 15th in reference to the same topics and conversations, which is things that are going into the capital improvement plan. And then we had another town hall meeting May 4th around the same topics. For the last two community town hall meetings, we've had all our leadership staff here, every department here to go sharing the thoughts in reference to expenditures. This is the third time that leadership staff is up here again. And so I wanted to kind of just share for residents, people who are watching, people who are in here, how did we get here? It's been nothing but an open book, whether it be what some call transparency. It is walking through this process together. When we first started having these conversations, it was what residents wrote on papers or provided in conversation, who took the time to come up and participate in community engagement. That's how we got the things that are now in what we call a capital improvement plan that is now moved forward into a certificate of obligation. And so we'll go through several iterations to talk about, well, why did we choose? If you all would like, if someone asks a question, I won't belabor the conversation because we've had this. But if people want to know why we selected a certificate of obligation versus a general obligation bond, ask that question. We have several past council members in here, so I'd love to answer that question. in reference to why we wouldn't do that. And so, again, there are several financing mechanisms, just like how you finance your car. Just, you can go to a bank, you can go to a credit union, right? You go to a family, just like how some people have financed their car. There are different mechanisms. And so I would love to answer those questions on why the body, the community, and the leadership decided to go this route to get us where we needed to be for critical infrastructure improvements. So again, if no one has any questions on how we got here, we will then open it up before we open, if no one has any questions on how we got here, and then we're going to go department by department, project by project, to make sure everyone leaves here on the same page. So let's start there. Does anybody have any questions specifically on how we got here? Yes, sir.
Not necessarily a question. I'm just going to make a statement. I've been to the majority of these town halls, these meetings, and they've all pretty much gone the same way. It's been basically, for the most part, a one-sided narrative of the direction that you're telling us that the community is going in. There have been a few exercises put up here that, yes, you're directing these exercises to get a leading result based on how it is established. So a lot of this, I've seen a lot of narratives being presented to the community with very little input from the residents coming back. So when you say it's open and transparent, yes, it has been open and transparent with you providing the direction that you best see the city go forward in, with very little feedback from the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. I'm not, so you didn't have a question, so I won't belabor. When you have a town hall meeting, or you have a city manager coffee, and you ask people to provide feedback, and they're given the opportunity 13 times, and no one provides feedback, that means people by extension support the direction of what you're moving. There's only one hired person for the city of Kirby that brings operation and management and direction based upon the expectations that are set by city council, and that's the city manager. And as the city manager, I have not only exceeded in reference to community engagement conversations and opportunities, so everyone, just like yourself, has had the opportunity to speak and share concerns. Every meeting you've come to, you've shared your concerns. You've got an opportunity to provide feedback. If you choose not to, I can't do anything about that. But you've had that opportunity. That's what community engagement is, the opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas, to see how do we formulate that into a path forward where everybody can move forward. So, does anybody have any additional questions before we go through the second sheet that I provided to you in reference to this conversation? Yes, sir.
I'd like to know why we didn't bring this, as you were stating, to a bond rather than going towards a certificate of obligation.
Okay. So, what are the? So that there are many financing mechanisms. A general obligation bond would have needed to start some time ago, when you was on city council, right? So the question would have been, what projects did you identify 3-4 years ago that would have been ready to have gone through the process of a general obligation bond? The answer is 0. So when you don't have the time, a financing mechanism that many cities have, because y'all can Google, the financing mechanism that most cities can use for critical infrastructure needs It's called a certificate of obligation. We didn't make this up. These are tools that are already there.
It's a tool to bypass votes, right?
It's really not. So it's really not. There are processes by the law that you have to follow. When we talk about, I mentioned something and no one had much to say. There's capital improvement plan of things that we will talk about that has been had several emergencies. And so the question is, what was the solution then? What is the solution now? I'm not going to wait like what happened in 2024 when the city of Kirby was without water for 4 days or longer. I don't know what you did, but I'm saying here as the city manager, that's my responsibility to provide a solution. I don't get a vote, but a duly elected body voted for this process to move forward. Now, you talk about the things that are in a general obligation bond. So this is where we all kind of learn together. A general obligation bond is a bond that goes through the process where residents get to vote. We want this project, we want this project, we want this project. Those opportunities take time, but you don't use that process for things that are critical in nature. I'm pretty sure if we asked all the residents who was here in 2024 that didn't have water for a week, do they think that a water well that many council members knew about, didn't provide direction nor solution, would say that that is a critical issue? And so critical issues by definition, you then look at a certificate of obligation. That is not Ryan Rowland, that's the facts of the financial instrument. So hopefully now that everyone's educated a little bit, that people will see why we chose a certificate of obligation versus a general obligation bond. Does the city of Kirby need a general obligation bond? Yes. The plan is to provide that for 2030. So now we have 5 years to plan out all the things that will move forward based upon what we're doing, based upon a capital improvement plan, based upon us moving forward together. That's how you do this. This is strategic. This is not knee-jerk. But the things that we're funding in this CO are critical in nature, which is why the law allows us to do this.
A new municipal building is critical in nature?
Yes, sir. Dr. Shooter. Is it based on the
This is
introduction?
what you just were talking about.
Well, his question
I'm
is
answering I'm asking a question to this. It's all about the same thing. Yes, it is. Please allow me to speak.
Dr. Street.
Please allow me to speak.
I'm asking you a clarifying question. I've asked everyone in the audience to follow the rules. The question was, did you have anything on this or the opening vision? We're going to go through this, and if we answer your questions, you may not need to ask. If we don't, then you can ask. So is your question on this or this?
What you just answered.
Okay, so I need
which was related to the bond, or the not bond.
Dr. Street, we're going to follow the process that we've identified to everybody. You're going to get an opportunity to speak, but right now it's
people are going to be dead before we finish all of this. You're going to talk forever.
Well, Dr. Street, I've already asked. Thank you. Okay, so since I want to make sure that no one has any questions on the first document or the question, how did we get here moving forward? Mr. Barbosa, you have a question in reference to these?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Again, you mentioned about all this town hall meetings that we had. And I've asked you this before, and I didn't get an answer, but maybe it wasn't the appropriate time. But anyways, you said that we had 17 meetings, whatever, amount of meetings. And you did speak about what needed to be fixed, what needs to be done. But correct me if I'm wrong, never did you bring up the certificate of obligation until the day that you all were informed.
because we were not talking about how we were going to finance the issue. We were going through the community engagement process, but how do you work through a problem? First, you have to identify it. Then you work through how you're going to solve it, and then there's a cost into it. When we got into the cost, this is what we're talking about. But the 13 meetings we had, we weren't talking about cost because there was nothing identified as a problem prior to me getting here. So like you said, I talked about the issues. I identified the problem with the community and city council. And then we walked through solutions. Solutions was the water well had been going out way before 2023. Water well issues. That documented and known by all city councils who have been up there. And so then you say, well, what was the solution? There was no solution. Then something happened again in 2024, which exacerbated the problem that should have been addressed before, but it wasn't addressed. I don't know why. And so from that, we then came to where we went through a year worth of conversations on here's the problems, here's the solution. And so now it's like, how are we going to afford this? And that's where we're at.
But it seems like you all made that decision without letting the residents know that we were going to go and vote on the certificate of obligation. Now, another thing is, you keep saying people should know, people should have known. You never spoke about the certificate of obligation. How are we supposed to know? You spoke about everything else. You're absolutely right. You talked about what needed to be, the amount of money that needed to be spent, but you never spoke how we were going to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
And that's what the problem was. And that's why a lot of people were confused. All of a sudden, here, boom, $15 million for a certificate of obligation. Okay, where did that one come from? We knew what the intention was, is to get things fixed. I understand that. But for you to keep saying that people knew about this certificate of obligation, no, they didn't, because you never spoke about it.
Yes, sir.
Nobody ever spoke about it.
Yes, sir.
So that's what the problem is right now. That's why people are confused, because that is not transparency.
Yes, sir. So let me share something. I don't know if you're mad because it's a CO or because of general obligation, which is the financing part. You should be mad.
Excuse me.
You've already spoken.
Okay, you
So,
said that I was mad.
no. I'm saying residents who
I'm
have
trying to make sense
voice,
of this.
and I'm trying to help you. So we're talking about how we're going to finance it, which is what you brought up.
Absolutely.
And so what should have been the question is, when did we know about the problem? Did we fix the problem in 2023?
Yes.
Did we fix? No.
Yes,
we
we did.
tempered.
We actually hooked up to saws. I mean, you're lying.
You're not. Are we?
Yeah, we hooked up to saws.
They voted to
No. Are we hooked up to saws?
Yeah.
No,
We
we're
should
not.
be.
We're
Well,
not.
we should be.
We're not.
We voted to have
We're
it.
not.
We addressed it.
It wasn't. How much was the cost to hook up to saws?
We addressed it.
How much? What was?
We
No.
addressed it.
It was voted on by
What was
council.
the?
Whoever was the city manager at the time was supposed to take
And
care of it.
so I will share. The problem in 2023 was still the problem in 2024, and still the problem in 2025, and still the problem in 2026. I have just only brought a solution, and people are shooting the messenger. So the question, whether you think you connected to SAWS, that was going to cost you $1 million. Y'all didn't vote for no $1 million. Just saying I vote for SAWS and not knowing the process, that's what happened. And that is not untrue. So if you don't know, part of it would be, you may not want to say things you don't know. So if we would have fixed the problem in 2023, been about 1.8 million. Right now, to correct this issue is about $3.3 million. That's for us to fix the issue. Connecting to SAWS is a temporary solution. That's going to start off at $1 million. $3.3 million to fix it permanently, or I'm going to pay $1 million just to connect. And then all the water we use, there's a fee for that, just like how you pay your water bill. So again, what we're saying is, let's have that conversation so everyone leave with the facts The fact system is a problem identified in 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. Some people don't like the messenger. But that does not reduce the issue of the problem. I just brought a solution. And so that's just one instant. And so if we don't have any more questions on this form or the vision, so if we want to get into specifics, we can turn the corner. I'll let Mr. Martin go, and then we'll go to the other one. Mr. Barbosa. No, we're going to have
this question.
We're going to have Mr. Barbosa, Mr. Martin talk. You have your 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. When you first came on board, you had several meetings.
Hey, Cardona.
Everyone enters the quorum, and there's no interruption, please don't interrupt. Everyone deserves the time to talk, and you can re-talk again and talk again. Just give everybody an opportunity to speak. Be polite and say your points of view. And if there was a question that wasn't answered, by all means, when everyone's done speaking, we'll call you back up. Go ahead, Mr. Martin.
Dr. Roda, when you first came aboard in, what was it, 23?
Yes, sir.
I came to you in your office. You remember that? I gave you all the problems we had. There was the well, there was the sewer, there was the fire trucks. And I gave you ideas of what to do. That was 3 years ago.
What ideas, sir?
About the water well.
What ideas?
You remember me?
No, I don't. Communicate the ideas, sir.
There you go.
Tell us what ideas you gave us. Communicate.
You didn't do nothing.
No, tell me the ideas you gave me. Communicate the ideas that you gave me.
We did do water well.
Okay, that's the idea.
Before you leave, I told you what we needed to do.
No, tell me. Tell us
Stop
all.
interrupting him.
Tell us all right now the idea. He's saying he gave me ideas and information, and I'm asking him to tell everyone what he gave me.
We had funds in the water department, drilling the well. There were $4 million in there. Back then, the wells would have cost 1.7. I would take care of it. I would took care of the water issue. Then you go to, I told you about the fire trucks. We get the turf grant. You get a free fire truck. But who writes the grants? Nobody. Everybody here is lazy. You want a fire truck. I mean, you want a new city hall. Nobody wants to work for it. Nobody wants to ask for grants. You know, but you want the citizens to hand you money, buy whatever you want. I don't think that's right. The streets, we've been talking about the streets for the last 20 years that I've been here. We bought a zipper machine. It would do the work, but you gotta use it. Bo knows how to use it. Granted, like I said, nobody knows how to use it. Bo knows how to use it. He's used it twice already. He wants to continue to use it, but they don't give him permission. Yes, we gotta rent equipment to finish the job. And we all know that, but it's cut the price in half, or not even more than that. Cut it to a third of the cost. But everybody here's like, if you want to see how you can't fill what you got. You can't fill the positions we need. There's nothing wrong with City Hall for the people that are here, but you want to spend all this money. So you look around. My house back, my slab is cracked. You think I'm going to build a new house with a slab cracked? I don't have the money. You don't have the money. If you pay taxes here, you would understand how the citizens feel about just giving y'all money. And I asked you months ago.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's not good for the city, it's not good for the citizens.
Someone has a question?
Yes, I have a question. So, the issue seems to be about what everybody wants to know about the vote bond. So my question to you is, what is the time frame on getting a bond versus the time frame on a certificate?
The time frame for a bond or certificate, a certificate time frame, once went out to city council and went out to the community. There's a notice in the newspaper which was sent out twice. You have a 45-day time frame. After that 45-day time frame, there's another vote to sell the bonds. During this process, you're gathering all your information. You go, what we just had a call last week with Standard & Poor's rating agency, which rates the city of Kirby an A+ in reference to our ability to pay back the loan. The same process that you go through when you purchase a home or purchase a car. From that process, we're within our 45 days. There will become, we are not required to do any town halls or anything. You just put it in a newspaper twice. You have 45 days. We have had several conversations, which is another one we added to make sure that we would engage in the residents so they would be able to decipher facts from fiction. So after the 45 days, there's going to be, come back to the leadership body, city council. We'll vote once the package is packaged. We've had a financial advisor come before us twice. We have our bond council will be at the June 25th meeting. And so from that, we're going to have, they'll vote to what is called selling the bond, meaning go into the market, just like if you purchase stocks or bonds. They're going to sell our certificate of obligations for people who want to buy it. After that, once they close that sale, we should have money in the bank by mid-August to be able to work through the issues that are critical in nature. So you ask the question. This process can be tied up in about 90 days. The general obligation process, which is a process that requires town hall, it requires everything we did for the last year. And then it requires us to then put it on an election. When residents come out, residents vote, and then residents who have Proposition 1, 2, or 3 can be broken up, it could be all together, depending upon what the body says. This process, it takes some time, longer than 90 days, probably longer than 6 months. And so the difference between what we're talking about, majority of the projects, all the projects that we're going to be able to use the money for, has to be stamped off by not only the rating agencies, with our audit, with the state, with the attorneys, with bond counsel, with finance. It's not us here in Kirby. We just bringing the information together, sharing the vision, sharing the expectations on why these things are critical to our community, and they have now packaged this and ready to be sold. So we can have the money in the next 90 days, so we can upgrade some of our critical infrastructure things. Could we have got a $100 million bond? Probably not, because they would have asked, how do you pay it back? In the certificate of obligation, it's a two-pronged process in which we're bringing. It's $15 million, right? Not all of it is going to be a 30-year time frame. I'm going too much. I want to finish. The 30-year time frame. So, for example, only $10 million is going to be through the CO process. $5 million is part of it, but it is what was called a tax revenue. What is a tax revenue? Tax revenue is going to take the increase from the services to be able to pay for these things. So, for example, one of the projects would be water meters. We've been talking about that. We've said we had several demos. We had 2 people to come and do presentations about automatic water meters. For those people who have had the opportunity to come to a meeting, we had a guy come in. We did it on the screen, a demo. We have 5 locations in the city that we've been demoing for 6 months. Everything that we're doing is the things that we've talked about. What some people are referencing, have we said, hey, these are all the things, these are the, we have gone over the items that we're going to talk about at some point, and now we're just trying to bring it together. And so, 90 days versus at least 6 months, have to get voters' approval, and then there are restrictions on, so when the citizens vote on this, on the general obligation, you can say, hey, I want to do all these things. And for a certificate of obligation, is restricted the funds are restricted. And so that's part of why we're saying, nothing we're doing is anything malicious, nothing we're doing is anything that is like we just our wish list. This is not the process we would use. We're using the the certificate of obligation process for critical needs in 2020 and 2030, 2031, or whenever the city council or the citizens say we need to finance this. That's when we go through the general obligation process. Part of that has to do with planning. If you don't have a capital improvement plan, you can't plan out. That's what we've been talking about. The strategic plan, the master plan, all these things, the park plan, have been everything that we've been talking about with residents, community members, and stakeholders since I got here. And so these aren't things that I'm just saying this. These are things that we've looked at. What are the critical problems? How do we resolve this? For some people who are asking, why are we doing this financing, or why are we, I don't understand. So I would just say this. If the water well was to stop today, and we have to pay double the amount of money to fix it, not a pump issue that's like only $58,000. We've had several of those. Like when we have the water go down for a day or two, that's what that is, 50-something thousand, 30,000. We're talking about it doesn't work anymore because preventive maintenance, because of whatever reason. Where are we going to get the money from? We're going to go to Church Bank or go to whoever and pay what? The going rate for something that is a long-term expenditure. That's like saying, why wouldn't I? So the financing mechanism we're using is something that we can pay over a long period of time, just like if you were going to purchase your house. You go to a bank or a credit union. You don't go to the pawn shop or a check cash place, right? You go to a bank or a credit union. This is the same process we're going through. And so I'm just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page and everybody leaves with all the same information. All right.
So we can have the money within 90 days and the project started within 6 months or less?
Yes, some of the projects.
Or we can have the money in 6+ months.
Or at least take a year for the process if we do the general obligation. Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, define for those that don't understand the certificates of obligations. Certificates of obligations, or COs, are municipal debt instruments issued by local governments to fund public projects without requiring direct voter approval. For residents, they offer a faster route to address critical needs like infrastructure repairs or emergency responses. But they also carry significant drawbacks, primarily increased tax burdens and circumvention of the democratic process. The primary issues and concerns that residents face with the COs include the lack of voter consent. So the COs allow city councils and county governments to take on massive long-term debt without putting the issue on the ballot for the residents to decide. You have the higher tax burdens because COs are ultimately backed by property taxes, fee revenues, or a combination of both. The resulting debt directly impacts a resident's cost of living. Taxpayers are on the hook to repay this debt, which can divert municipal funds away from other community projects. Discretionary spending on controversial projects, while originally intended for emergency situations or unexpected disasters, local governments have now increasingly utilized COs to fund highly debated non-emergency projects, such as public art, swimming pools, or administrative buildings that might not have passed a public vote. And then finally, you have the limited public notice. Notification of cities or counties' intention to issue the CO is often buried in local newspaper advertisements or hidden on municipal websites, giving residents very little time to organize and protest before the debt is officially authorized. Either way, a CO the taxpayer has to pay it back. The general obligation, it's a bond that goes to the taxpayers, and the taxpayers decide, yes, we want to pass this amount, or no, we don't.
Thank you.
Thank
So just for clarity, certificate of obligation and a general obligation bond, the taxpayers pay for both.
Pay for
No, they
it.
pay for both, so there's no, there's no difference.
There is.
There's no, you're gonna let me finish? There's no difference in the payment. There's a difference in the process that she identified. And so, what Councilmember identified some of the same issues that you all have brought up. What I am putting back out to you all, in 2024, when the city didn't have water for a week, and if the water well goes out right now, how do you plan to fix it? And does the residents or the leadership plan to say, hey, we're going to do a bond to fix this? We don't have a year to wait. And so the question is, what do you do? And I'm understanding notice. You had notice, we had notice about the water well issue in 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. We now are putting forth a resolution to resolve it.
So city leadership, the question, I think, from what I'm hearing from everyone is why are the residents not able to vote on this? And I actually will push back and say you did when you voted in those city council members. Whenever the initial voting happened, it happened. And that's why we're at the place we are at now. And all our city council members that we have on our panel now should be discussing all of these things. But as someone who was very much impacted by the water main busting, spending $70,000 to fix our house, having our house broken into, when we had that meeting in March, I told you I felt the city of Kirby was a D+. And I have now since told you I feel like we're B+. You give me to that A- and start fixing some more of the infrastructure. I think we have a great city council here that's asking questions and all that. Do I want the bickering to get minimized in front of everyone? Yes. But I do think that the voters have voted when we voted in that council. And that council that voted, they made their votes whether they were yays or nays. And we need to keep moving the city forward and not move backwards, because this is an aged, in-place city. And if we keep trying to go back and not spend the money we need, there's going to be more people who cannot afford to fix their homes because we're not fixing the basic core, which is the infrastructure.
That is correct, thank you. On top of how do you get here? I think former Councilmember Martin said that we had $4.4 million in reserves. There was a bond in 2018 so we went through the bond process. 2018, residents had a general obligation bond in front of them for streets. It was supposed to be $6.2 million. That project, now complete, is $10.2 million. The $4 million that former council member referenced was the amount of money that the body, the city council, voted to take money out of the reserves, water fund, to pay for African road streets. And so, if you also have coupled with 7 to 10 years of non-fee increases, meaning you're not meeting the minimum to do preventive maintenance, this is where we're in this is why we're here, and we're trying to bring some resolution to this situation. But there are several facets of pieces that impact this and brought us in.
Thank you for your time. I believe we all can agree on what Kirby needs. We've been residents here since 2018, and the same issues that were a problem when we bought our house is still a problem today. Utility system, the water, the streets, obviously our fire trucks, we need more police, better police police equipment, public work parks, we can all agree all of this stuff needs to be fixed. We can all agree it needs to be fixed now. We want it fixed now, correct? The question is, how are we gonna pay for it? Because no matter what they choose or how they choose to go about it, we are gonna be the ones paying for it, right? We're talking about $15 million over, say, 20 years. If we were to pay this back in 20 years, we're going to be looking at somewhere between $83,000 a month to $116,000 a month, spread across 2,000 homes plus businesses. What are we talking about? We're talking about a couple of dollars per household. That's what we're talking about. Every month, a couple of dollars. You're going to pay it anyway. Are we not going to pay it anyway? If we don't get it done now, it don't matter if we do a bond or a certificate. We already understand that we, the people of Kirby, are going to pay for this, one way or another. Understand, the Kirby is an older community. A lot of people here are on fixed incomes. We get it. We get it. What we need to understand is the cost of living has been skyrocketing since 2020. Right? We understand that. The city of Kirby has not been keeping up with it. Right? I don't know what anybody else did before. I don't care what they did before. I know what needs to be done, and I know it's going to end up coming out of our pocket. We're talking about a couple of dollars, with less than $5 a household. Is it that serious? You're going to pay for it anyway. Why are we fussing about this? Get it done so we can go about our business. We need these fixed. Is it funny to you? It ain't funny to me.
I'm going to speak after you're done, sir.
Okay, I'm glad.
Hey, let's talk about the one.
We need to get this stuff fixed.
Sir, if you don't mind, just go ahead, Derek, because that way we don't offend anybody by accident.
I'm sorry, but listen to the community. We're talking about a few dollars a month, and it needs to happen. Thank you.
So the city of Kirby, we gave out a sheet that has this information. Mr. Roman, you don't have to leave. You're going to go next. You're going to go next. We gave out this sheet, which says the city of Kirby $15 million certificate of obligation projects. It's also on the screen. It says capital improvement projects. And it says supporting infrastructure and public safety. And we list bullet points of what is in this CO. And so, I mean, we focus on one area. There are many areas in here, but we want residents to know that these bullet points are the critical need area that has been identified for the CO that is approved to be able to be funded through the certificate of obligation process. All right.
How we got here, yes, we had a street issue, $6 million bond, had $4 million in cost overruns. Here, you've identified $15 million of debt obligation. I know there will be absolutely zero debt overrun. Nothing will exceed the $15 million. We'll get everything that's being addressed. And there will be no additional cost overruns, I'm sure. That's the issue I have. Government asks for money. Projects always get overspent. The additional burden is going to be placed on the taxpayers. There's a lot of common sense that needs to be implemented. For the last 4 years, the city has been operating without a finance director. Yes, we hired an outside entity. A concern I have is, how are the finances, are they going to be intermingled with general obligation funds? It's all a management issue. There's cost overruns, and monies are mixed. We're not, you're not going to be able to differentiate, especially when we don't have a finance director doing basic fundamental thing that needs to be corrected that has not been addressed for the last 4 years. If we can't get our finances and a finance director on board here, $100 million isn't going to take care of the stuff. Because that is a fundamental issue that needs to be taken care of up front before we go into a bunch more debt. I am very concerned with $15 million coming into the city coffers, and we don't have a finance director. As a city manager, you're part of the checks and balances over a finance director. Well, we don't have that finance director in-house. So we don't have those checks and balances. Council is supposed to be the checks and balance for the city manager. They have not at all put any checks and balances in place. They're acquiescing, and you're leading them in the direction you want them to go, and they're following it. They're not doing their jobs on accountability. And that's my concern. Because it's going to be $15 million in debt. Half of this stuff might get done if we're lucky.
Thank you, sir.
And then we're going to still have much more debt.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
Dr. Rowland, so we are now at 6:58, okay? The leadership, you were gonna go down the list, correct? And the leadership were gonna speak. We need to go ahead and do that also.
I got one question, Mr. Charlotte. The city is required to have 4 to 6 months of reserve. When we spent that $4 million out of water, what is our reserve now?
We've met the gap principles in reference to financial reserves. We meet the reserves. So it has nothing to do with that. The reserves have nothing to do with our financial position. We've met that. The problem is we're just meeting it. When you do not have rate increases for 7 to 10 years, meaning it costs me $5 to run this. I'm only charging $4. That means I have a deficit. I can't keep up. That's what we've been doing. And so, again, we're not talking about the past, but we're talking about right now. This body increased the rates to be able to keep up with increases. So we'll have, we'll go down and have the department heads share some of the conversations like we did for the last 2 meetings with the impact of what the certificate obligation does. And then if you will also share in those different departments some of the grants that we're going after that has, that the city has not had the opportunity to go after before.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the Chief of Police, Roxanne Cordova, for the Police Department here in Kirby. It's a pleasure to be in front of you all. One of the things that I discussed and one of the main concerns that we have, and I'll go over it again, is our vehicles. Something that crime control has assisted us in the past for. We have been unfortunately denied over the years. And I'm going to run down all the vehicles that I have and their mileage to give you an idea of our concern. We have a 2012 Tahoe at 74,000 miles. It's a 2012 Tahoe at 74,000 miles. A 2016 Ford at 104,000 miles. A 2018 Ford at 146,000 miles. A 2020 Ford at 65. Another 2020 Ford at 70. Two 2023 Dodges at 28,000 miles. 2016 Chevy that we've had only one person uses, which is the code enforcement officer, and that's at 17,000 miles. And a CID that we've had since 2016 at 53,000 miles. 2012, 2016, we're in 2026. Now, if we're not looking at the year, because we're taking care of the vehicles that we do have, if we're not even looking at the year, that's more, most of these vehicles are hitting more than 10 years, or just about. we have 1, 2, 3 vehicles, 4 vehicles, 5 vehicles that we need replacing right now. We're spending more money trying to deal with the maintenance. Every year we spend one brand new car worth on just maintenance on these vehicles. And I had to recently put down one of those vehicles because it costs $11,000 to fix the engine, which is more than what the vehicle's worth. If we're talking about assets, if we're talking about, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to spend $11,000 on a vehicle that basically, unfortunately, is worth $2,000. That makes no sense. How much what, ma'am? I'm sorry.
How much for what you need? That's what we're looking at. We
You
want to know.
get to the end of it?
Yeah, we do. We want to know how much for each department, so we can add this up to get 15
So
million.
I'm gonna keep talking and I'm gonna get to that point.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm wasting your time. So, we also have MDTs, right? Crime Control has been assisting us with that as well. But those are our in-car vehicle computers, right? Each of those costs about $5,000. We have a total of 8. They're running their lifespan. Obviously, technology only runs so far, and all of a sudden, the updates don't work anymore. Windows outdates it, so that goes out of pocket. That's 8 times 5,000, right there. There's your first number. Cell phones, that's something that we're looking at for the future, only for certain employees. The patrol cars, to go to that, that's $80,000 per car. If we're asking for 5, that's $400,000. We can continue down this road. We're about to put down another vehicle, unfortunately, because it's costing us more than what it's worth. And what's happening is two people are assigned to each car, and they're running them, and when they start going down like this with no replacement, they get run 24 hours a day, and there goes your maintenance. So that is why we're requesting and why we're having these concerns. That's all I have right now, Dr. Rowe.
Well, no. Kathy, go through. I guess, Kathy, I mean, what we're.
So, okay, hold on, wait a minute. We're gonna get through the presentation first, and at the end, if you have questions, then you can ask the questions. Let's get through the brief first, and then at the end, if anybody has some questions, then ask questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
We have Parks and Recreation. I don't know, we had a separate town hall about Parks and Recreation. We've also included that in many conversations. We have, from this conversation, we talked about what the cost of bringing improvements to Friendship Park, which we said was the jewel of Kirby, right? People come to Kirby for what? Friendship Park. Like, I don't know, you tell me. I know in several meetings, people were saying they come to Kirby for Friendship Park. Friendship Park was one of the parks that was identified along with the park by the John Sterling building and the pool, which it all falls under Park and Recreation. We've identified what that looked like. The senior center was also a part of that. Currently, the senior center we work with the Bexar County and HUD to get CDBG, Community Development Block Grant money, to be able to pay for the renovation and upkeep of the senior center. So we no longer have to use general obligation funds to be able to upgrade that building. So in Parks and Recreation, we've put about $2 million in this project for all of our parks buildings that needs to be upgraded for Parks and Recreation.
Can you give some specifics on $2 million of expenditures in the parks, what you're talking about?
We've had those specific conversations. We've had many people write on, like, after you've seen up there and you've been to several meetings, We've talked about trying to address some of the flooding, working with Sarah. We've talked about matching. So right now, the
The
city of
park is
Kirby.
in a floodplain, it's going to flood.
Ma'am, so everyone here is allowed to speak. We've already established that this is a town hall, so you guys can get all this out, but please be respectful, follow the rules of decorum. If he's speaking and you want to raise your hand to speak, by all means, you get another 3 minutes, as many times as you need to. So please be respectful.
So we've allocated $2 million in this area because there were people who came out, who voiced their opinion, voiced their concerns about wanting to improve all of our parks. On top of the $2 million, we have met with the Texas Park and Wildlife Department. We're submitting for 2 grants. There's a $150,000 grant and there's a $750,000 grant. Both of those grants require a 50% match, which means we're going to get additional money when we're going to use this money to help us with the match to get additional money. So if let's say if the first grant is $150,000, for us to get it's a 50% match. So we can get up to 150 or we can get less. Whatever the amount we request, we'll have to match it 50%. So we just took $75,000 of our money that we are going to invest in the critical needs areas and now get $150,000. Does everybody understand that, man? So that's just one example of what we're doing. Second example is grant number 2, $750,000 is another grant that we plan to apply for by August 3rd. And again, the amount of money we request, we have a 50% match. Well, guess what? We have identified the money for the match will then get us double the money. That means less money coming out of residents' pocket for the same or more investment in that area. If y'all want to fact check it, you can go to the Texas Park and Wildlife Development Board. Look up the 2 grants. The application is August 3rd. This is what we're currently working on. And so that's just an example of what needs to be done. This also fits into our park master plan. This also fits into the survey that some of you filled out earlier this year. And so that's on parks and recreation. We'll let Mr. Moe talk about public works.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin. I've been here for 16 years already here for the city of Kirby. So within that time, I've gotten to know really good streets, infrastructure, and water. So with that being said, for the utility system of infrastructure, of improvements on water, wastewater, I'm asking for $4 million. As you all know, some of the lines have never been replaced since the city was built. We still have a lot of clay out there. Same with the water lines. We have a lot of asbestos lines that should not be there anymore. We haven't upgraded any of those, and I think it's time for you guys to upgrade those. On the streets improvements, I'm asking for $3 million.
How much?
$3 million.
Please don't interrupt and wait for him to be done speaking.
I'm asking for $3 million because there are several streets that obviously need work. If we go out there and repair them by just doing the pothole repairs, it won't do anything anymore. Some of those streets just have no point of just going out there and replacing, fixing the pothole. So you do need to fix the entire street. I can just give you one street, for example, Fred Hayes. That street, you don't have asphalt on that street anymore. If you go and drive by it, you're looking at probably a quarter of asphalt over there in that street. You should have at least a minimum of at least 3 inches, which you don't have. There's other streets that I can name that are at the same level. So those are the streets that we need to look at, and this is why I'm asking on the $3 million to get some of those streets to go up. In regards to vehicles, we've always purchased 3/4 tons, It's not the proper trucks that we need to haul off our trailers, when it comes to hauling off heavy equipment. With our Vectron, with our sewer machine, if we have to haul off a tractor, we don't have the proper trucks to do that. So I'm asking for $250,000 when it comes to the vehicles. Right now, if I was to haul off one of our tractors to Telus, which is about a 45-minute drive, they're charging $500 just to come and pick it up. Another $500 just to drop it off. So that's $1,000 right there that just goes away. So this is why I'm asking for 1-ton trucks, not the 3/4. With the 1-ton trucks, we'll be able to do a little bit more than what we normally do with the trucks we have now.
Thank you. 2 things, 2 points of information. When Chief Cardona shared, currently right now, the city of Kirby is looking forward to applying for 2 grants, a COPS grant. Myself and Chief Cardona met today with our consultant. We're going to do a COPS hiring program where they're going to fund 75% of one officer for 3 years, and then it'll go to 65% that we will need to, right? So that means they're going to fund 75%. That means the city only has to come up with 25%. Then after 3 years, it's going to go to where we have to fund 65%. And then after 5 years, we'll be funding this person. We're saying that will give us leeway to be able to bring on additional officers. That's one grant we work on today. The second grant is a technology grant. I think Chief Cardona shared about that in reference to radios and MDTs. So we're probably going to ask anywhere from about $300,000 to $400,000 for equipping 21 radios at $5,500 of what that is. That then takes the money out of our, that then allows us to free up money from our general fund or money that was coming from crime control to go to other things. So we're not just thinking one way to do this. We're working with the community to provide solutions and resolutions. Mr. Moe talked about public works, he talked about utilities, and he talked about streets. Currently, as you all know, we have had a great several months. We have submitted, this city council has voted to approve the city of Kirby submitting $5.2 million for a clean water state revolving fund submission for new line project. That's $5.2 million, which would be the cost. That is now, when we submitted that Texas Water Development Board, 70% of that we think, because it's our first time applying, we think 70% of it is going to be loan forgiven, which means the city would need to come up with a 30% match. We're talking about things that have been in the ground over 30 plus years. They have had its useful life. So instead of the city having to pay for the whole thing, we went out and procured a way for us to say, okay, we're going to get the state to fund 70%, and we only have to come up with 30. The money in here is going to allow us to be able to put the 30% match if needed. Number 2, we submitted $2.2 million Texas Water Development Board drinking water state revolving fund for a new water well, not the one that is for a new water well, $2.2 million. We submitted 1.9 and congressional earmarks submitted for asbestos water pipe replacement project. We just submitted 1.9. There's no money back. I don't know if Congress is going to approve it. We received a letter. Our congressman has asked the budget officer for City of Kirby's approval. We've gotten back that our whole 1.9 is been reduced. But so instead of 1.9, I think it's about 750,000 is what it's looked like we're going to get it. That's free money to go towards these projects. We submitted another 2.2 congressional earmarks submitted for new water well. They accepted the project, 2 projects, the first time we've had community project funding through commercial earmarks. They, again, 2.2 we asked for. They bumped it down, so they think it's gonna fund it about $750,000. So now we have about 1.5 million that we're gonna get to go towards our projects. The money that we have allocated here, the $3 million for some streets improvements, $4 million for water, wastewater, new water well, is a part of a larger plan on how do we get the funds to bring all this together. Because some of it is critical, meaning we need it tomorrow, and some of it is going to take us 28 months to get TCEQ to clear a new well. So part of it is staggering the process. So now we have the funds to be able to provide solutions. We're not hiding anything. The thing that's there. You just got to want to see it. We also apply for EPA's pre-engineering costs for some of the design for the second water well at 0 cost to the city. But for some people who believe that the grants and all this is going to, free money is going to drop out the sky, we've never had that. And the people who are saying that they've never done it, because that's not how it works. It comes out of property tax or sales tax. And so what we're trying to do is be a good financial steward, put out a plan, using operations and management to say, this is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. Here's how the projects fall into the plan. This is the same thing. Once we are finished with this, we're going to connect suits. We're going to start back planning for 5 years. Why? Because then residents get to say and make a vote and do all the things. But right now, critically, you would not want to, the water well that we need right now, we don't have that time. And so, last thing, we're currently working on the WSI. The 89th legislature, which is House Bill 500 for those who want to check, is due August 31st, is due August 30th, excuse me. The state legislature put $1.1 billion for water capacity to build it. Anyone could go look up House Bill 500. The city of Kirby is applying for this. The maximum that our cities our size can apply for $10 million. Our sweet spot, what we're looking at, working with the engineer and our consultant, we're looking at applying for about $3.2 million. Because it's not $10 million, but it's enough to say, hey, we've done our part, and this is 100% forgivable. We just got to have projects and hit the metrics. And so these are the things that we're doing in alignment with what we're asking the residents to do. This is what the staff has done. This is what City Council has adopted for us to do. We'll move to fire.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I apologize, I missed one. That other number one that I'm really asking for is approximately $2 million, and that is for your water meters. We've had our water meters for approximately about 12 to 14 years already. And the reason why I say those years is because I was the one that replaced them back then. It took me about 6 to 8 months to replace. We have approximately 2,726, that includes the businesses. You have sizes 3/4, 5/8, 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch, 4 inch, and 8 inch. So they all range from different prices. And that's what we're currently working with, along with Dr. Bowman, which is, I brought it up to him several times, and I'm asking, like I said, for that $2 million to replace your water meters. As you don't know, out of those right now, we are reading about 800 by hand. So it's taking an extra 2-3 days where we should spend that time. We should be done in 1 day if we all had the correct meters out there at your houses. So 2 million.
Thank you. We'll go to fire.
I'm Captain Steve. I've been with the city of Kirby for going on 12 years now. So what we're asking out of this $15 million is for $1.4 million Currently, our engine, our reserve engine is 33 years old. It was bought in 1993. The current best practices is your primary pumper after 10 years goes to your reserve engine, and your reserve engine gets retired after 20 years. We're 13 years past that point. So we've gotten with the professionals at Simmons Martin's. Currently, if something goes wrong on our reserve engine, on the pump, it will cost nearly $47,000 to rebuild the pump. They don't have parts for it anymore. With that $1.4 million, it also brings with the hoses, the haligans, the axles, the nozzles, all the equipment that actually goes onto the truck. It's not just the truck itself. One of the things that also goes onto the trucks are the SCBA harnesses and the cylinders, the things that we breathe air on in structure fires. One of the grants that I've been working with Dr. Rowland and with our consultants for grants is for $138,000 through the FEMA AFG grant. That is due by the 22nd of this month, and we've gotten them all the information, so hopefully we get that grant as well. We've also submitted firehouse plans for the extrication equipment, so it brings down the cost of what we're actually asking for. But the total cost is $1.4 million, and we are locked into that quote until 2027.
Thank you, Captain Speed. Again, we are trying to go through the process of looking for outside funding, state, federal, local, and we're also addressing a critical need. I'm pretty sure everyone in here knows how old 33 years is. And we bought that 33 years ago. Captain Speed, can you share with the residents who may not have been in some of the other meetings, what is the requesting process to get an engine?
Yeah, so right now it is a 3-year wait time. So if we went 2 years and said, let's go ahead and start building our pumper, we had it spec'd out and everything today, it would be 3 years from today before we receive that. Now, that's not to say we have to start paying the process right now. Most times you don't have to start paying until you actually get the pumper, and there's little nuances with that. But right now, the actual wait time is 3 years. Now, if we wait any longer, that time can increase as well.
So does the cost. So right now, what we're trying to do is take a positive step in the right direction to make sure that the city is protected. Many residents will come in today on Facebook and say that they support police and fire. And so we're giving you a solution to a problem that is arising when you have a pumper that is 33 years old. And so all we're doing is our due diligence by providing the information to say we need to request for the engine. When they have the engine come in, we have the money, and we'll be able to make the payments. And we're working on some other things to be able to provide additional revenue for our general fund during this 3-year process, and we'll share that a little later, another town hall meeting specifically for public emergency services. But that's just the process. And so hopefully now residents will leave here with some more clarity into some of the things, the direction in which we're going, the things that we've said at several other meetings. Nothing's changed. And so we like the questions to come up. And so the last thing that we have not discussed on here would be city facility upgrades and your new municipal building. I think some people made on Facebook or in the audience, Chief Cardona did a presentation based on information that we got from contractors. When you walk in City Hall, you see the foundation. When you walk up the steps, you see the foundation. The foundation is cracked from one side of the building all the way to the other. In every room, you have cracks that you see. This is not art. The building is cracking. You got one side right there. You got another side right there, full crack down. I don't know what people are seeing. This is in every office. So Whether we put new, whether we put renovate, the process is the same. We didn't just make up this number. This building was built in 1993. Preventive maintenance could have stopped some of this, but just like at your home, the ground shifts. So the question is, I mean, some people made decisions to leave their home look like that, and that's fine. That's what you do at your home. My responsibility as the CEO of this city is to bring it to the board of directors, which is city council, for them to make a decision. You all can do it as you please. But we have to bring the information. We've had structural engineers. We try to also go through our insurance to say, to show, based on some of the weather incidents that has happened, some of the wear and tear of processes to not have to come out taxpayer dollars. They're saying the building was built in 1993, and so it's gonna shift. And so just like at your home, we have to make some investment. This is what people see when they come to the city of Kirby. The president, the governor, whoever. This is where they're coming to. And we're saying that we went through from the roof to the ACs. We have 3 ACs on this building. We replaced 2 of them in 2025. Well, 25, 26. Replaced one of them in 2023. And so these are the things that we're trying to do, but to get around this, that's just part of the process. And so we have tried to hold on to what we have. We have had several times the door replaced, the front door and this door. Why? Because the foundation moves and it can't lock. I will tell you some other things that don't lock, but again, it's just, I don't know what we're saying. We brought the information as far as structurally, as far as the HVAC, as far as all these things that need to be replaced. The same pipes that need to be replaced at your home needs to be replaced here 30 years later. Chief Adona, do you want to share?
So just to recap on that, I know that it's easy. I know that it's not easy. Nobody wants a home with cracks, and nobody wants the foundation to be fixed. It's what causes underneath it. It's what causes it because of those foundation cracks. So the total cost of fixing all of this would be $400,000 in total. Now, we are going through the insurance company right now, and they haven't determined whether or not they're going to help us pay for this. If they say we can't, there's a little bit more liability. So you invite people to your home, your foundation's cracked, you have things in your walls fall, maybe some of the ceilings fell off, and as they're walking through, and hopefully a family member is walking through safely, but if something falls on their head, you would hope, everyone hopes, hey, my family member's not going to sue me. Are you okay? Let's go to the doctor, you know? But when it comes to government entities, and this is meant for the public to walk in, the liabilities of something falling on their head, more than likely, what's going to happen? We're going to get sued. So it's our responsibility to inform all of the public, inform all of council, that once you are notified that this is a problem, that this could continue to have issues. We had citizens come and complain about where that cone is because it popped up, and it still popped up. That's all part of the foundation concerns. We're going to continue spending on this building to fix things like that because the foundation continues to move, and there are massive cracks. So we have an obligation as a government entity to say, okay, this is a problem. The staff has been informed, the public has been informed, and then the vote was basically, no, we're not going to repair it, the insurance not going to repair it, we're just going to leave it alone. So what happens when someone sues because they got hit by something out there, or because they tripped, or they fell, or however, the floors are uneven? What's going to happen? Is the city now liable because we knew and did nothing about it? Yes, absolutely. That's what we're not thinking about. Now, if I go to your home and I trip and fall, more than likely I'm not going to sue you because I know that's not your fault. You didn't cause that. But other people aren't going to see it that way. I got injured in your facility and you knew that this was here. So those are the things that we've got to think about. Now, this was never, so when we had discussed it before, and this was brought up about what are we going to do, that was what Dr. Willen had said. What are our options? We can get a new building, or we can fix this. and it turned into, we're getting a new building. That was the ultimate decision. No, that wasn't the case. These are our options. We can spend $400,000, and what I was informed by these engineers is that there's a high probability this is going to happen again. Is that another $400,000? So now we're up to almost $1 million. So is it better just to build one out now, or is it better just to fix it and deal with it in the future? What is the best option? And that's what we asked at the town hall meeting. What is it that we want to do? And yes, we only had a few people that come, but they gave their input where they wanted to, and we didn't hear anything else beyond that. So this building needs to be fixed, or we're going to be spending more money on lawsuits. People should feel safe coming in. Yes, people should be proud when they come into their city hall, that they're welcome to, that they're not concerned about. And look at everyone here. Not every. If I had an injury and I walked over that, I'm going to fall. So think about those things. That's what Dr. Rowe was talking about. That, I'm going to say the number again. It was $400,000 that was assessed for this building to fix it, and that was me rounding up.
Thank you. Dr. Street, you're going to be next. I'm just trying to wrap up that we've now went through each of the items that are going to be in the certificate of obligation. And so we've had everyone speak on those items. Questions are open. Dr. Street, let me give you time. Go ahead, Dr. Street.
First of all, how much was it going to be for a new city hall? Can you give us a number?
I did. I spoke to you about it that day. So it goes by square footage. I can only have an estimate, ma'am. I don't have an engineer's plan. So
I understand.
So it's about between 2.2 and 2.5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. Okay, things I wanted to say earlier that you now allow me to say. Council was never asked how to finance these things, these big ticket items that we have to do. It was never put on the agenda. All the discussion that happened behind your door, behind the staff, which no one knows who staff is exactly. I know I was not consulted or invited to any discussions about any of this when I was as I'm on council now. I certainly wasn't invited when I was just a resident. So I don't know why you seem to think we should all already know this information. We don't. There was never an agenda item for council to consider a bond option or a certificate of obligation option until, 3 weeks ago when we had a meeting? Never had brought it up before, not discussed with any of us, not sent out a memo saying, what do you think about this? We're going to talk about this. That didn't happen. But you're acting like we should know, we don't know, and not only to consider the bond or the certificate of obligation, but how much is it going to cost us each year to borrow that much money? Now, simple division on $15 million over, and you said 30 years at the council meeting, it's 20 in this information that you're giving us. 15 million divided by 30 years gives you $500,000 a year to pay back without interest. That's just the principal. We don't have an additional $500,000 in our budget to do that. Now, if you're the way you were talking about the grants and then we use the obligation money to pay the matching part, that's fine, but you're using borrowed money to pay off your credit cards, which never works out well. $500,000 extra each year to pay off $15 million of obligation on top of the $486,000 we're already paying for Ackerman until 2038. So we'll have twice a double payment until 38 when Ackerman's paid off. Because that's what's in the interest and sinking fund. So I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to ask the people for. And it's going to be more than $5.
Thank you, Dr. Street. So I think thank you for your questions, Dr. Street. Just to kind of shed some light, whether you're on city council or you're a resident of the community, everyone had dual notice for any of our town hall meetings and to participate in how we got here over the last year. Some people had additional information who served on city council of some of the same issues.
No, we did not.
Ma'am, please.
Stop saying that.
Ma'am, I'm not, if that happens again, ma'am, you will be removed. I'm sorry. I have told you several times to be respectful. You spoke, he speaks. Once he's done, if there's two more people, after they're done talking, you can speak all over again. It's about being respectful. If you don't like what he has to say, you have the opportunity to speak.
City council has had additional information on some of the items that are in this certificate of obligation. Some have known all the way from 2022 to 2023, as we've stated again. And so that's fine. I just want to make sure that everyone's had an opportunity to come to the 13 meetings that's on your sheet. You can go look at the website, you can go look at the Facebook of how many opportunities we invited residents to come engage and hear. The certificate of obligation is just a financing mechanism for us to be able to address critical issues, which is what we brought forward. City council did know about it because city council voted for this process to move forward. There was a notice of intent. The majority of council, which is needed, voted to move this forward. That's the process. As was stated, residents elect city council to stay in the know and to get information, and the guidance that they provided started this process moving forward. And we've been continuing to engage moving forward after that. We have Mr. Barbosa, and I think Mr. Tony is next.
Okay, this question obviously is for Chief Cordoni, because no other questions are ever going to be answered, but it's okay. Chief Cordoni, you mentioned that crime control has denied to buy all vehicles. What's the reason behind that?
Denied to buy us vehicles?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't crime control. Crime control has helped us.
Okay.
They've helped, they're the ones that helped us with vehicles.
Okay.
Now, council has this, so I've been asking for vehicles almost every year since I've been here, right? And
Who has denied getting all the vehicles?
it's not about denying, it's about not having the funds. So
Okay,
if
okay.
it doesn't make, I'm sorry, if it doesn't make it to the agenda, then it wasn't approved to go to there, we didn't have the funds. Whatever it may be or the reason why, it wasn't approved.
Okay. So you're telling me that our city council is not concerned about?
That's not what I'm saying, no, sir.
No, I'm telling you.
You're saying your facts.
Exactly.
What you believe is, yes, but I'm not saying that at all, because they've allowed me to speak, they've allowed me
My
to get up.
thing is it legal for crime control to spend money on buying vehicles when that's the city's obligation?
Absolutely. The city of Pasadena does it, the city of Crowley does it, the city of Jersey Village, they're studying about Coney's, they talk about equipment, you can go to each one of those businesses, and I'm not just asking, I'm just informing. Absolutely they can, absolutely they can.
So we need to, talk to city council about being more concerned about people. in
I don't think it's concerned about Mr. Barbosa. Everyone here.
But if, when we have our department making $17 an hour, our police department, $20 an hour, police officers.
And everyone up here is on your side on that.
And our mayor denies, and she funds the police, really?
What?
Wow. People.
Okay, so let's go back. I don't know, wait, hold on. So, hold on. So, hold on a minute. Everyone up here has a vote. Everyone up here is elected. Everyone up here is voted in here. Everyone that has been up here, there's been a level of concern. Maybe some have, maybe that's the problem, is the way we're viewing each other. Somebody might have maybe they were fascinated with fire, and that's why they want to support fire all the time. Maybe somebody's fascinated with police, and they want to support police all the time. And just because somebody votes no doesn't mean they're completely against the system. So we need to start reviewing ourselves a little differently and respecting each other's votes. If somebody votes no, that does not necessarily mean they hate the police. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you for sharing, Chief. I'll just say that every year, there is a level of what is called capital assets that need to be invested. Just like in your home, when you look at your budget and your yearly income, you look at what major purchases am I going to have to make this year? If you look at that for every department, we put that into what's called a capital improvement plan. This plan has been in and out because we've had six city secretaries, 6 to 7 city managers acting and or permanent. When you don't have consistency, you have the rotation gets out of alignment. And so what we're only trying to do is to work with the community to build some alignment. So each year we look at how much do we have for capital asset investment. So those are what we can afford that year. Everyone can't afford to buy a car that one in a year's salary, right? So you finance it for 5, 6 years. Everybody can't afford to buy a home and pay for it that year. So you finance it 20, 30 years. That's what we're doing. That's what we're saying. And this is the process we're using. And so thank Cordona, thank you, Mr. Barbosa, for your questions. Mr. Tony had a question, and then we'll come to this one.
Start my time. Hello, everybody. My name is Army, retired, 21 years, Tony Ceballos at CDV, ALLOS. I respect what everybody's doing here. I really do. I think having respect, even if we disagree or whatever, I completely hope that we continue this type of candor with each other. I also respect the fact that accountability needs to be had. 33-year truck, life expectancy on some things like that, 20 years. Someone should be held accountable. Chief, same thing on your vehicles. Someone should be held accountable on expectancy. But I know you're a reason. You're a woman of many hats. That's not a failure on you. That's a failure on your superiors. Okay. I hope you own up to that. I'll always respect you for that. But you have too many hats. I see the reason why. But as far as just general accountability, we have to understand that a lot of this is accountability. Now me as a taxpayer, as a resident, 15 years owning my house, if my house is crumbling, I'm not going to knock it all down. I'm going to pay the foundation. This is tape and fill, by the way. Cracks go diagonal, tape and fill goes up and down. But I'm not going to knock my house down. I'm going to try to do the best I can with what I got and prioritize it. Prioritization is key. I don't see this plan as being a priority and having it all one lump sum. I think that it needs to be adjusted. My wife does master planning. I do a lot of planning in healthcare relations, operations, Fort Sam, Houston, Virginia, you name it, I've done master planning everywhere. This is not a good plan for prioritization of budgeting. It isn't. So I would ask you this, and you think about it amongst yourselves. Would you please take another vote? Because this $15 million you are really asking for, regardless of all the innuendos, possibilities. These are possibilities. These are not factual things coming in to help with us. These are innuendos, possibilities. Please take another account for it, because I'm a factual man, I guess, 59 seconds. And as a factual man, looking at everything that I just written down from this city hall, there's a lot of lost accountability. And every time there's a lost accountability, I as a resident, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, I as a resident am paying for it for 15 years now. Now, if you just think about that, policies, turnover on equipment, turnover. If you have a policy, why not follow it? And if you don't have policies on it, maybe you should create policy. A doctorate should start with policy. Should start with planning, prioritization, things like that. So I ask you, for my sake, for the sake of my family, please reconsider this 15 million, because it is not. I mean, I got money because I'm retired. I busted my butt for 21 years to serve God and country. But not everybody else has the blessings I have, and they're not going to be able to afford this. And I will move, like many others. Just think about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, and get rid of this. I will take 20 $20,000, get rid of it. I could not deal with fireworks for 5 years.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So just to kind of share, I appreciate your concern, but you're leaving, so part of what I will share really quick is that, having a PhD is why we started a year ago, our team, having community engagement conversations with some of you in this audience about where we were going. We've received direction from the priorities that were identified by City Council and are looking to move through all our projects through those priorities. And so within this year, these are the things that we identified, and so that's what we've done. So thank you.
So Dr. Rowland, in regards to the 13 dated items that we've been at probably like 80% of it, I would just like to ask, just so that everybody could see what it looks like more, if you chunk these out and then just put the dates under it, and then maybe a strong line, and then stuff that's been completed, stuff that has the grants, the stuff that's still pending and stuff like that, just so we can have a one-page document. Maybe at the town meeting in a month from now to give our city staff some time to build it all out so that we can see like what new things can we bring to the table, because as I discussed and saw you before our VFW meeting, the fire hazards, when there's a lot of grass that's growing way out of control around houses and around some of the buildings and things like that, we need to make sure that we are good stewards as residents as well to make sure that we are keeping our areas free of hazards.
Thank you. So within that, we use, you can come to me next. We have code enforcement. We've rolled out a code enforcement plan. Along with that, we have building and standards, which is a body from Kirby residents, which is going to meet for the first time in a year on June 23rd to go through what we call the abatement process. But what we can't do is so in the abatement process, we're going to have training this month. Next month, we'll have our summer break, and then we'll have about 6 cases that have gone through the noticing process on how the city of Kirby is going to move forward with residents not keeping up with their properties. They have holes in the roof and abiding by the ordinances. But one of the issues is now you have someone's house that, let's say, have whatever's going on that is impacting our ordinances. The question, not only does the building and standards have to go through the process, but city council making a decision, because they're the ones who allocate the money, the resources to actually to abate the issue, like to get rid of it. So if a house is there and an owner's not going to do anything with it, or they have some issues, if the city's going to abate it, like say knock it down, there's a cost. And so that would need to be budgeted by city council, that then the abatement process is put on by building and standards. And so this process works together and this is what we're trying to do, to work through, following up with what code enforcement is doing, with the citations that are being written, and then going through our court process. So there are a 3-pronged approach. What we're now trying to get back in together, because right now we've been doing a lot of education. We've been doing a lot of letting people buy. Now we're bringing people into compliance, and now when we put in building and standards, we're now going to take some responsibility, put in liens, and abating the process. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, hello, my name is Sally Garza, and you've been here 49 years, my husband and I. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of stuff that's gone on today just kind of gone over my head. I understand that a lot of things need to be fixed in this little town of ours. But I see our roads, I see where they finally fixed Ackerman Road. It took forever, but they fixed it, thank God. But I see other roads that are terrible. There's Crest Lane. I have friends that live over there, and I take them home sometimes. lines that haven't even been painted. I mean, there's no lane, turning lane or anything. We know how it used to be, but people that are coming in from other places, they're like, whoa, where do I go? There's just little things here that I just wish that were taken care of. I understand there's very important things like the police department and the fire and, all of that stuff, but I just wish they would fix little things. For instance, this same Hedwig Road, why didn't they just fix the part that's back here behind City Hall? And those poor people over there on the other side, they have a horrible road. And why aren't simple things like that fixed? And I'm sorry, I didn't come because I had just heard there's a lot of fighting here, but I wanted to come and see and be a part of it.
Man, we appreciate it. Let me give you. You came to fight. No, I'm glad you asked and shared your thoughts. Real quick. The city of Kirby in 2018 put out a bond for $6.2 million to fix these streets. It cost the city $10.2 million just to fix Ackerman Road and these streets right here. If they would have fixed the other streets, it would have cost more money. So all we had was 6.2 is what we asked for. We ended up spending 10.2. Now, during one of the town hall meetings, we had a meeting on utilities. There are 102 streets in Kirby. To fix every street in Kirby is $64.8 million. Where are we going to get the money from? You have it in your background? Right, and that's what we've been doing a little at a time. In this current $15 million, we have $3 million. Out of the 15, we have $3 million allocated for street records, resurfacing, overlay, and improvements. $3 million. Now we just spent $10.2 million on Ackerman Road and 2.5 other streets. And so we've been doing this slowly, but just to understand the context, 102 streets, $64.8 million to just bring the streets level. And so that's the process we're using. But we do have allocated $3 million for additional streets in this. Yes, sir. And who's next?
Anybody else? What's that, man? I don't know where to start on this. This is my first time ever to get really involved in politics. I'm actually going to look forward to it. I've been here for since '77, and 4 days is the longest I've been without water. If this has to wait, y'all, whenever I came here, there was like 7 people here the first time you talked about it. All right, and you said about volunteering and everything. I knew I was going to go to volunteer. I wasn't, I couldn't. And that doesn't make me a worse resident, by no means, just because I couldn't volunteer. And if this, now you got several people in here that are out upset or is there, want to know more. What is the problem with just putting it off? Is it gonna, if this fails, this is guaranteed, this $15 million plan, if it's guaranteed to work, man, I would say go for it. But if it's not, what happens after that? If it doesn't work, we're still having plans, we still have the streets problems, or water's always gone bad. Then what do we do? It's just, I just think we need to, like a lot of problems, we look into it, just put more priorities of where it needs to go for money. So I'm getting, I don't know, I know what the plan to talk about, I'll get it straightened out, that's what I want to say.
Thank you for talking.
Yeah, I'm getting, because I've had my moments already.
Yes, sir, we got to be patient. A lot of it is understanding, right? If you come in the middle of a conversation, sometimes you're not going to get all the facts. So the main thing is understanding that no one has voted for this to be approved, right?
I agree.
What was approved by council was to look into and see if we can and find more information and get it in line so that we have a proper plan.
Right.
Everyone's putting, and there's a lot of good concerns, but everyone's kind of putting the cart before the horse. So before we can get answers, we have to outline the needs, which we're discussing. We discussed at the last town hall meeting, and we're discussing now. These are the needs, and we're going to bring that back to council with proper information, right? Answers to some of these questions. Until We're still kind of figuring it out, you know? And so it's about being patient. A decision hasn't been made yet. They're just moving in a direction to try and get these concerns rectified. If it can't be done, council will be informed it can't be done. If it can be done, like you said, and it's possible, then by all means, and thank you for your support. So I just wanted to bring that
No,
up.
I appreciate it. I see what you're saying, and you're the last one to be my sport. I'm just playing, because just all wrong what happened between you, but where I'm going with this is, I lost my train of thought. You were just right there. Forget it. I mean, my thoughts together now.
That's okay.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it.
So just to share, when you came to one of the other town hall meetings before, we were just walking through this process, and we're currently still walking through the process. But I don't want anyone to leave here as if we have not been, that we have not gone through the appropriate channels to move forward with this process. There's been posted in the newspaper. We're within our 45 days. There has been a vote for notice of intent. We have our bond counsel and our financial advisor who's come before not even a town hall meeting. They have come on a city council agenda. So we've had opportunities to get conversation. And so now we have our financial advisor, we have our bond counsel. We just had our call with the S&P rating agency this last week, working to see what our rating is going to be if these certificate of obligations are sold. We have a calendar. We're following the calendar. On June 25th, our bond counsel will be at the meeting to answer questions. They can't answer questions on the projects. That's what this was for. They're going to answer questions in reference to, have we followed legal notice? Have we done what we're supposed to do? And so then after that, we'll have an additional meeting where city council will provide some, will vote. And so we are following the process that's been designated by the state, and that cities that use this process were doing the same thing. So thank you for your question and concern. Does anybody have anything else before we close out? It is 7:58, so we'll take the last two questions coming up to the stand.
Okay, number one, I have to say, I'm not sure if I was following the correct protocol when I walked in here and I wanted to sign up for citizen participation. I put my name, put my address, and I put the agenda item. Everybody and God got up there to speak, but I wasn't called, okay? So, no problem. But I came to ask a question. I'm sorry, your name, Parks and Recreation, correct?
Streets, ma'am.
Public, okay.
Public Works.
Public Works,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This has nothing to do with the bond or anything like that, but I am interested, okay, in that mosquito spraying that you do. I walked into City Hall, oh my God, I was just elated, I saw mosquito spraying, and and I live in Springfield Mills Mobile Home Park, and so I was elated. I took one of those flyers, I went literally running to the office. Oh my God, we're gonna come in here and do mosquito spraying. Well, fast forward, I believe that I had talked to Miss Abedaka, city council, and she said she wasn't sure. She forwarded an email to our city manager, and I got the answer that no, they don't. So, my question to you, sir, is why are we not included in the mosquito spraying?
Are we talking about the mobile home park on Springfield?
Yes.
Okay, actually it did change. It was brought up to Dr. Roman, and it actually changed as of last month. I was told that from now on, we will be spraying over there at the Springfield Manor Mobile Home Park.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Roman, I appreciate that. So you're telling me, oh, I've been lying with them for years now. I mean, oh my God, the mosquito truck is coming through, you know? So now they are going to do, and when is the next one?
The 19th of June at 8 p.m. All
Yeah.
pets need to be in the
Well,
house.
okay, you guys, is there a flyer out there I can take and it's gonna be legitimate?
So we'll get you a copy of the flyer, but yes.
Oh.
June 19th is when we're supposed to be doing mosquito spraying. One of the issues is because of the rain, where we may have to cancel. And so there's some concern because we've had rain every day, and then to spray the mosquitoes wouldn't work. We know, but in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have mosquito spraying again. When the question came from Councilmember Amadaki in reference to the area which you're describing, I was like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be, and I called him, and he was like, no, we ain't sprayed over there since I've been working here, how many years? 16 years. 16 years, right? And so we're not saying, so this is just a process thing of like, okay, we need to make sure we're including, so we went back, and we're like, we need to include the whole outline of the city of Kirby, which is just a process change. But yes, thank you. The process has worked. You had an issue. You notified somebody. Someone brought the issue to us, allowed us to make the change. You brought the issue back. The issue has been rectified, and now we can all be put out factual information on. That's how community works. That's how collaboration works. So I appreciate you for bringing it up. I appreciate the staff for resolving the issue. And I appreciate leadership for bringing the issue to our attention. It didn't have to be confrontational. It didn't have to be messy. It was just a simple, here's an issue. Let me ask a question. Thank you.
Everybody, you think I'm gonna go back there?
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out, but I especially want to thank you. Because you, Ms. Garza, more people like you need to come out. Does it get rowdy? Yes. That's one of the reasons why I chose to be off of council, because I don't like that. I don't like the bickering. That's just not for me. I need my peace. So I get why you don't want to come, because I said, I'm not going to run for city council because I don't want to deal with this mess anymore. But look at me. Here I am. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope that you come back when you come to city council meetings, because that's where you're going to learn. That's where you're going to pick up stuff and what's going on, what needs to be done, things like that. So please take the time to come if you can. And I'll sit next to you. Okay? So thank you. But I also want to say that I feel like everybody's focusing, what I'm focusing when I look up there on things that need to be done. Fire truck. You guys, y'all need that. I understand that. I'm looking at police vehicles. I'll never forget when I was on council how they spoke about there was a specific area of the city that had crap water on their lawn. They had poop in their area. They could smell it. They could see it. And everybody was upset about that, but then everybody, once we voted to say, yes, let's fix this, people were upset about it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to vote against something that needs to be done. Okay? I see all of these things that need to be fixed, but everybody is focused on, oh, they just want another city hall. That's what everybody's focusing on. Read what it says up there. It's not just the city hall. And even if it was just the city hall, that lady, that lady, that lady, that gentleman, everybody up there, including water, they matter. I don't want something to happen to the people that are here on a day-to-day basis. Yes, I'm worried about the people that come in here to pay their bill. I'm worried about things like that, but I also worry about everybody here. It's not fair to them to have to risk coming into a building that's falling apart. I understand it's a lot of money, I get it. I don't wanna pay more taxes. I already pay a lot as it is. I'm blessed to have a job. I'm blessed to have a two-income household. I'm grateful to God for that. And I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't as blessed. And I'm sorry. But what needs to be done, and we need to do it before it gets any worse. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you. Miss Jackie Wynn signed up. Miss Jody Williams signed up.
Miss Winnie called him.
Mr. Sandra Jones signed up. Mr. Mike Martin signed up. Mr. David Barbosa signed up. Dr. Susan Street signed up. Christopher Garza signed up. Kenneth Bynum signed up. And Sally Garza signed up. This is just a sign-in. Anyone who wanted also to be here, so we have a record, they could sign in. Anyone who wanted to speak could come to the mic and have their 3 minutes. We are wrapping up. We appreciate your effort and time and energy. I think we have Miss Tackney who I didn't necessarily speak for a specific department because her department has gotten funds and she's going through a process. You'll hear from her on June 25th. But I want to give Tackney, who is a member of our executive leadership team, an opportunity to share her thoughts on what we've been doing.
Boy, you have a lot of thoughts. About 3 minutes. I do kind of want to speak from the point of not only an employee, but a citizen in the community. England and I moved here in 2019 to Kirby. And when I tell you we did our research, we did our research. I mean, we drove up here on the weekends, parked outside, checked out the neighbors. We wanted to see how quiet it was. We loved the neighborhood. We fell in love with the house that we found. And then, the last few years, I have seen nothing but anger, animosity towards us folks that are just trying to do our job. I don't get it. I don't want to pay taxes either. Shoot, I don't want to pay any taxes. But hey, nothing's sure in life, right? But death and taxes. So I'm going to be honest, I'm really disgusted by some of the behavior I've witnessed in the past few years. I'm motivated now to go door to door to convince people to be more involved, especially our youth. Because our youth is the ones that are going to be coming in and making those changes. We're making decisions now that are going to affect the youth. So I find it disheartening that I don't see more youth involved. But let me tell you, Mike Martin and his comment about y'all are lazy, I'm going to fester in that. Because I can tell you, none of us here, none of the employees are lazy. One of the gentlemen that was on Crime Control Board mentioned you wear many hats. Not to take anything away from you, Cardona, but we all wear many hats. We're all taking on positions, I don't just do the senior center role. You know I have fun in my role, that's for sure. In the senior center aspect, I love it, that's my passion. But let me tell you, when I had the opportunity to come over on the city side and help, you know how excited, almost nerd-like excited, that I got to be over here to help, to push the city forward. Because I love my neighbors. I love the community. Do I like all the animosity and all the fighting? No. But let me tell you, I'm determined now to get more people involved in the community because they have to, those small group of people, the naysayers, cannot be the large representative of the city. I know they're not. They're not. As is evident by this young lady that came out today for the first time. So we need more like that. I want the community to be fully aware. If that's what they want to represent them, that's on them. But I sure as heck don't want them representing me. So I'm begging you to
go out to your neighbors, people you've never talked to before in your community, in our community. Talk to them about what's going on. Ask them to get involved. Ask them to volunteer. We're working our butts off for y'all, for this whole community, despite all the naysaying, despite all the insults. We have to just brush it off and move forward. But I'm almost scared that we're not going to be able to move forward with that going on. And so that's where the disappointment comes from. So I'm asking those that are in the audience, those that are watching, please go out and talk to your community, talk to your neighbors, talk to people that you know for a fact don't know what's going on. So that way they're fully aware of the facts and what's going on. As opposed to just going on random Kirby website pages and gleaning their information from there. Because I can tell you, most of it is not facts. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Cardona. We have our city secretary. Thank you, Ms. Cardona. That's fine. Ms. Wilson, do you have anything to share?
Okay. I would like to say that the first time that the city being in shambles was brought to my attention, it was residents, especially when it came to the building itself. It was residents who brought up when there was buckling in the very front of the building, inside in the lobby. It was a resident who brought that to our attention in March, and it was not nearly as bad in March when it was brought to our attention. There was an incident where someone fell in here, and their relative mentioned to us that this is not the first time that particular person has fallen, and that when complaints had been made for, I think, 3 years, nothing happened, and that the building never got fixed. And it seemed as if nobody cared that her loved one had fallen. So I don't quite understand if the engineers have come in. I mean, there were like 3 that descended upon this building like locusts. They took me by surprise, and they were all through everywhere. And they all stated the exact same thing, that we went to a different, we went to our insurance, and he came out and said the exact same thing, that this needs to be rectified. If something happens, we will be held liable for it. There are different options in front of us, but if the soil is bad everywhere, I don't understand the concept of, if I'm not gonna fix my house, you should fix the city hall. Well, that's like saying, if I'm not gonna fix my house and there's something wrong in HEB, they shouldn't fix it either. If you fall in HEB, more than likely you're not gonna be like, oh, well, no, you have enough to get this fixed. You should have enough to address this, and if you don't, then you've gotta go another route. But you can't just leave it that way. And you can't just say in front of the judge, well, their houses weren't getting fixed, so we decided not to do anything. That's not gonna work. And so I think that taking that into consideration is something that would probably help the conversation go further, and maybe more thinking from the other point of view. But there's a lot of vitriol, which I will say completely took me back when I first started here. I was quite surprised by the level of displeasure that the residents and citizens were coming up here with. There's a lot of interesting takes and mindsets. But all opinions are actually important. They bring about a different angle if you take the time to consider, why are they coming at this problem from this way? I think if we explained more from both sides why we see the problem this way, then we could get further in at least understanding one another. We don't have to get necessarily along, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As we come to a close, we will allow Mayor Grider to give some closing remarks. So if she can come join us up here, she will close us out. We've been here for 2 hours. We'll hear from the mayor in reference to it. I want to acknowledge Councilmember Amadaka, who is also here with us tonight.
So thank you everyone first for coming, and everybody who's watching, and everybody who will watch later. So everything that we're talking about is not new. There's been things that I've talked about. I remember when I was a council member back in 2021, you know, issues with the water well and whatnot. We all remember, if you remember back then, I think it was in 2022, no, I think when we had we were at, correct, okay, the big incident, we were out for like almost a week.
Yeah, we established
right.
EOC.
Exactly, it was a really big deal. So things have been happening throughout the years, but even back in 2021, the narrative was always, we'll just wait. We'll just wait. That's 2021. So we talking about waiting 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, now we're in 2026. So we're supposed to wait again, some more. So you just can't keep waiting. This has a little bit of everything. Believe it or not, and we know that from people who came up and they did the exercises, or just talking to people in the communities, from the senior center to just walking to the Dollar General store, everywhere. A lot of the community members, the thing is not just street improvements. It's not. They actually care about their parks too. You know, they ask questions about the parks. The equipment. I actually was out there this past, I think it was Saturday. I was actually at the park. I drive around through the city. A lot of people don't know. Late at night, you never know when I'm going through the streets of Kirby because I'm nosy. And I'm driving around through the city. I go to the parks. I look at everything throughout the week. You never know. The people who know, they'll know that I drive around a lot, reporting things to staff and things I see. But talking to them also about the parks. And they have conversations about the parks. They have conversations about the basketball courts. The tennis, matter of fact, somebody brought up to me on multiple occasions about the tennis courts. The tennis court that we don't have. Basically, I'm going to say that. So there's a lot of things, and our parks can be our moneymaker. Our parks is a prize. We have 66 acres of parkway that we are not utilizing. I mean, I go to so many events in other cities, and I'll just say, for example, let's use like Woodlawn Lake. Can you imagine if we had that over here? You know how many rentals they have? How many functions they have over there? There's different other areas. We had a gentleman talking to a gentleman in, actually in Shirts. And we were talking, he was talking about our parkland, and he was just like, have y'all ever thought about it? He's like, it's the land, you can do soccer complex. There's different things that you can do. And he was telling me about the dollar amount they generate into their income for their city with their parks. So we have to start thinking about, you know, not just, because let me tell you something, fixing a street, there's no return. You know, we have to think about other things, economic development. How can we fix more streets, right? So, this is a little bit of something for everyone. That's the way I look at this. Now, is it going to solve everything? Absolutely not. We know that $15 million, even let's say we just put it towards streets, $15 million will not even take care of the streets. We know that. So, we're not even talking about, we had this conversation, we're not even talking about drainage. We never even discussed that. That's more than $60 million, just drainage alone. So, this is a little bit for everyone. The fire truck, we've been talking about the fire truck since I was on council. We've not had a new fire truck since then. And then also, again, everybody knows, because we all are in this economy and we know everything is going up. Everything. Things that you would buy a year ago. Honestly, things you might buy 6 months ago now has went up even more, right? Everybody knows that. So that's why the fire truck at a certain point costs a certain amount, now costs another amount. The water well at one point cost this amount, now it's up this amount. So can you imagine if we wait another 2 or 3 years? So we can't keep waiting. And I think that, I thank the staff for all of your hard work, Dr. Rowland and all the staff leadership, for everything that they've been doing to work on this. There's a lot of research that has went into this. There's been a lot of conferences, there's been a lot of team meetings about this. This is not something that's just thrown together. They've really been working hard to put this together for you, for the community members. So again, utility, and I just want to say the water. You have, one thing that you cannot go out with is what? Water. So I just want to say, everybody, we know water is so important. The water well we need a new water well. We need it. That's a fact. And we've been talking about this for years. So when Dr. Rowland makes the point of, hey, tomorrow, if the water well goes out, and we have to make an emergency decision, right? Because that would be considered an emergency. The water goes out, that's an emergency. We still have to go to Schertz Bank or whoever bank we're going to, and we're going to have to finance to get a water well. That's facts, right? And if we didn't, the citizens, I'm pretty sure the community members, y'all were very upset. That's right. So, again, utilities, streets, the city hall, even if it's not a new building, it's just repairs, that is something. I mean, I had a piece of, what was it? I don't know, what the thing that fell on me? What was that? Nah, I didn't sue. I'm not the mayor. I'm not going to sue. But I had a piece of the building fall down on me. So I'm just saying. People don't know that, but it did. Also, a fire truck, public vehicles, public works, they have been idly waiting for vehicles. I just want to say that. And then the park improvements. So again, there's a little bit for everybody. And we've been doing these town halls, and I just want to say, honestly, until Dr. Rowland came here, we did not have town halls like this. So we've been having town halls nonstop to keep citizens informed. The